I just wanted to do a stream where I sat in that chair and read the book. I thought it'd be fun. But everybody says, you're not gonna talk. You're just gonna sit in your chair and read. You're not even gonna say, people aren't gonna watch. It's gonna be boring. Nobody's gonna care if you just sit in the book and read. That's right, today's video is sponsored by HarperCollins and Reggie fils-aimé's book, Disrupting the Game. So put down the controller and clean off your glasses because we're getting literary. Now, when I was in school, I was often assigned that winter break reading project. Read a book, report back on it. So if you are in that position, oh boy, do we have you covered. Because I'm going to be walking you through Reggie's book, outlining an essay, and making sure that you get that platinum trophy on your next report card. Now, you can trust me on this. I was an English teacher once, and I am working on a book of my own. So if HarperCollins, today's sponsor, is watching, please call me. Without further ado, let's talk shop. Okay, so first, let's address the opening paragraph. You're gonna want a killer hook, a little bit of flavor in terms of what your subject is, and finally, you gotta state the goal, what you're aiming to prove in this essay. So here's my suggestion. Reggie fils-aimé, the former president and COO of Nintendo of America, was immortalized when he announced to an arena full of gamers, I'm about kicking ass, I'm about taking names, and we're about making games. Though immediately humorous, if not a little odd, coming from a corporate suit, the now retired fils-aimé explains that this short stanza, like nearly every other decision in his life, was one of precise business acumen and intention. So right there, I think you get we're talking about a businessman, we're talking about games, and we're talking about some kind of like quirky, non-traditional strategies going on, disruptions tying into the title of the book. But finally, we have to state what the intention of the essay is. And what I decided to go with is that I like this idea that Reggie has all of this business advice throughout the book, but I actually think that in his writing, in the construction of the literal book, he follows his own advice, which makes it narratively more impactful for the reader than just kind of like a list of rules to follow or things to keep in mind in your business deals. So my thesis, my argument would be what makes Reggie's business lessons so narratively effective is how they are reflected in the construction of his book. So for our next 3 paragraphs, we are going to try to demonstrate and prove that idea. The first body paragraph is easy. We are going to focus on what Reggie calls the so what's of the book. Basically, you'll be reading, and at the end of every story, you'll find a small block of text that directly explains what you are supposed to get out of it. Simultaneously, early in the book, Reggie details his experience learning to write the perfect memo and how valuable that would prove to be in his career. Reggie describes the perfect memo as short, easy to understand, and quick to get to the point of the matter. This description lines up perfectly with his so what's in the book. They're the same thing. The substance of the book is meeting the style of its construction. Okay, so for the second body paragraph, I want to focus on the titular disruption. So Reggie kind of defines disruption over and over again in the book, but I think the important thing to focus on is that he is only ever really looking inward. Disruption is about sticking to his own convictions and bold ideas, and never about taking anybody else down. It's not about getting in there and interrupting everything, you know? So I think how this meets the style of the construction of the book is that Reggie's entire business memoir is inward facing. He's talking about himself and his own experiences, looking at the glass half full and never using the book as a reason to look back and slam or disrespect anybody else. Meaning that again, there is a synergy between the lesson he's teaching in the book and the construction of the book itself. Now for the third body paragraph, I want to focus on Reggie's idea about authenticity. He believes that authenticity yields rewards in business, and I think we kind of see him carrying out his own advice about authenticity in the construction of this book. He starts the very first chapter, if we go all the way back, it's called Farewell to My Friend, and he details his experience surrounding the passing of his friend and boss, Satoru Iwata. In a narrative sense, what I think this does is that it prompts kind of the character of Reggie into this reflective space in which all of a sudden he wants to look back at his life and career, which is where the book goes from there, starting in chapter 2. I think this is just way more effective on the reader than it would have been to start chronologically and say, okay, we're gonna start with I'm a kid and I'm going to high school. No, instead we start authentically with where the journey started for Reggie. Now we've gotten through our body paragraphs. I'm sure you know what's next. We've gotta talk about the conclusion, right? Wrong! We're doing a pop quiz, baby! That's right, here are 5 questions to prove that you read Disrupting the Game. Question 1. Which classic video game did Reggie's son beat on his save file? 2. There was a last-minute change to Reggie's famous E3 2014 line about kicking ass. Well, how was the original line different? True or false? In Disrupting the Game, Reggie details his first cosplay attempt as a red Pikmin. 4. Before Nintendo, which popular pizza chain did Reggie work for? And 5. Which Nintendo handheld was Reggie not a big fan of? Once again, let me know your answers and thoughts on Disrupting the Game in the comments below. Thank you everybody for watching, and for everything else in games, you're already in the right place, so just let us explain. I'm Jake, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.